Hey guys, this is Sam. Welcome back to another episode of... I forgot the name. We always need one more lens. But do we though? At one dark and lonely night, I was wandering around on the internet and all of a sudden felt inspired by the concept called Dreamcore and Backroom. If you don't already know what those are, you probably don't want to look it up. I have warned you. So I have been shooting a lot of portraits, so the idea was to go out and try shoot some odd looking places in a different perspective, and then it just started raining nonstop in Los Angeles, and nothing ever goes as planned in this channel, you already know that. But anyway, yada yada, today we're talking about fisheye lens. Yeah. That's a double intro right there. So the next day, I went to a camera store and asked what is the widest angle lens I can get for my Canon camera. Then I rented this. This is the Canon 8mm to 12mm f4 ultra wide fisheye lens. Oh well, I couldn't show you because I've already returned it. I only rented for one day. The widest angle I've ever used before this is the Sony 16 to 35mm. That's the lens I record pretty much all my videos with. I had no idea how wide 8mm could look. And let me tell you, it is wide. The night I got the lens, I couldn't wait to go out and take some photos. 10 p.m. right now, and I thought it's a good idea to go out and take some pictures. It was raining and it probably wasn't a good idea. I was shooting on my Canon 1V with the Cinestill 800T film. Y'all know how much I love this film. All the other lens I used before, the front of the lens is always straight flat, but this lens, it has this protruding dome at the front. You can see in the very first shot, I got some raindrop on the lens. The lens came with a lens hood, but if you put the lens hood on, you will end up seeing the lens hood in the shot. Yes, that is how wide 8mm is. When you zoom out all the way to 8mm, you got this circular fisheye look. It looks very interesting. The aperture on this lens only opens to f4, so when shooting with an 800 speed film at night, I used the tripod for the first couple of shots. Later, I was looking for something closer and brighter to shoot. Then I saw in and out. That's the time when I realized how close I can get to my subject. It's kind of insane. With this shot I just took, I basically just stood like right here, like super close. This is how close I'm standing to the sign. I can basically just touch the sign with my arm up. To come in and out to take some pictures, I ordered a burger. This shot somewhat got a little bit Dreamcore vibe. Oh, and this one is very Dreamcore. And this is me anxiously photographing a bathroom. If you stare at this photo long enough, something might crawl out from somewhere. Just saying. And this is my first gas station shot. Cinestill 800T and the gas station. I guess I cannot avoid the cliche forever. Ooh, I like this shot. You see the back room and the Dreamcore vibe I was talking about? And I think I scared myself. It was kind of scary because somebody was up there in the dark. I was shooting over there and I was planning on go somewhere there and take more pictures, but looked like somebody was, I don't know, it was kind of scary. Maybe staying out taking pictures at 11 o'clock at a rainy night all by myself is a scary and bad idea. So the night is wrapped here. Alright, this is our this is our model for the day. We are out at a park. And the next day I got a model. We went to a park to test out how this lens would look for portrait shoot. We are still shooting on my Canon 1V and the Cinestill 800T. I have been shooting at 8mm all night with this circular frame. This was shot at 12mm end. You see the distortion is still very visible. It created this very interesting perspective you don't usually see with standard portrait lens. And depending on how close you get and where you position your angle and the framing, the fisheye effect is very fun to play with. Closer you get, bigger of the distortion you will get, and at 12mm end, you can fill up the whole frame. If you're close enough, you can still get pretty noticeable fisheye effect. And if you get further away and keep your subject at the center of the frame, you kind of lose the effect. And then I tried the different angles from low, from high. Since this lens is so wide, often when I'm shooting down, I can see my own feet in the shot, like this one. A lot of these photos you don't see me in the shot because I Photoshop myself out. So that's one thing you gotta be mindful. And here is a comparison between the 8mm versus the 12mm and versus my video camera at 16mm. Recent years, you see more and more fashion photographer favors the ultra wide angle lens because it looks very different and unique. The circular frame, just like the square frame, make me feel like I'm shooting a music album cover all the time. And this shot is one of my favorite shots from the whole shoot. This does look like an album cover, does it? When I was using this lens, I constantly looking for lines and I prefer to shoot at a tighter space. Anything that could enhance the distortion to create this odd looking, out of proportion and kind of dream-like feeling. I feel like I use the word dream-like a lot in my channel. And to see the differences in the end of the row, I also took 2 shots with my 50mm prime lens. You can see they for sure look very different. Unfortunately, I have to return this lens before I could shoot more, but fortunately, the company Astrhori reached out and asked if I'm interested trying their fisheye lens, and I said, perfect timing. They didn't pay me to make this video or say anything specific. This is just my first impression of this lens. I actually never used a non-native lens before. I also thought this would be a good chance to try it out. This is a 12mm f2.8 fisheye lens with a Canon RF mount. It also has Sony and the Nikon mount for their mirrorless cameras, but unfortunately they don't make EF mount, so I couldn't try it with my film camera. First of all, I have to say this is a much more budget-friendly choice. If you want to try the fisheye lens, or if you just want to have it in your kit but don't really use it all day every day, the $1,250 Canon lens might seem too much, and this only costs $250. Second of all, the aperture on this lens opens up to 2.8, and the Canon one is a zoom lens. It only opens to f4. So this lens will give you a little more room when shooting at low light situation. The focus ring and the aperture ring, it's a little heavy for me, but it's quite smooth. And it also has this built-in lens hood that protects the front glass. Build-wise, overall, it feels very solid. However, you will also lose a few things if you compare with the Canon lens I rented. For one, this is a 12mm prime lens. You obviously won't get the 8mm fisheye circular look. This is a big one for me. So if you're particular about the circular frame, this is not for you. Or you can Photoshop it. Second of all, this is a manual lens, means you will need to manually focus. The autofocus mode on your camera will not work with this lens. Not only that, when I put this lens on my R5, the camera don't even recognize the lens. I have to go into the menu and change the setting to release shutter without lens on to be able to fire the shutter. And also the aperture setting will not show on your camera screen, and it will just show f00. It works fine, it just won't show the number. And the lens setting data, for example, what aperture you shot this picture with, will also not be recorded into your picture. Manual focus, it's not a big problem for me. I will just turn on the focus peak assistant and manually focus. With the shoot we just did, we were in such a rush, and there's a lot of low light situation. I don't always nail focus, so no autofocus. If you heavily rely on that, this might not be very convenient for you. But when I do nail focus, it's quite sharp. I only took a couple of shots with this lens during a recent beauty shoot. I love the distortion. I started to get a sense of how wide it is and how much distortion I would get according to the distance and the camera angle. I will definitely use this lens more to try some fashion or like conceptual photography in the future. It's a fun lens to play with. Alright, this is it for this week's video. I know my upload schedule has been all over the place recently, and this year I will continue to make more video to document my photography journey and to share what I learned with you guys. I will try my best to keep a consistent upload time, but if not, I will see you when I see you. And thank you for watching, and thank you for all your support. This is Sam. I will see you next time. Bye!